Brad Keselowski. What do you think when you hear that name? Fans from the 2010s will probably say villain, as he had some rough edges and he still has some to this day. Fans of him will likely point to his 2012 championship, calling him a champion, which is not incorrect whatsoever. Me personally, when I hear Brad Keselowski, I think of a donkey. Probably some other people there too. But what most people probably don't think about when they hear Brad Keselowski's name is that he was a Hendrick prospect through and through until the 2019-10 offseason.
I had a contract with Rick to take over the 5 car in 2010, part-time and full-time in 2011. And I signed it in July of 08. And then Mark went out and won that Phoenix race in the spring of 09. And I'm like, oh, this isn't good. But I got a contract to be fine. And then I went out and ran the Cup race at Talladega next week and won the Cup race. I'm like, all right, I should be okay now, right? I've got a Cup win under my belt. I went and met with him at his house, which was in downtown Charlotte. And he says, hey, congratulations on the Talladega win. And, that's really great for you and your family, and kind of solidifies you as, a guy that can compete at this level. And, I'm just like, yeah, this is great. I'm just soaking up. And he says, well, I wanted to talk to you about something. I'm not going to move forward with your contract. I'm like, oh, okay. This is a big 180. He's like, yeah, Martin means a lot to me, and he's running well, and I think he wants to stay, and I'm going to give him every opportunity to stay, and that means there's no room here for you, and maybe there is somewhere else, and I'll try to help you get a deal somewhere else.
Hendrick decided to go with the aging Mark Martin in exchange for losing the young talent, full career ahead of him, Brad Keselowski, coming off a win at Talladega the year prior. However, what if Hendrick decided to not go this path? What if he decided to stick with the original plan, keeping Keselowski on for part-time to share the ride with a legend in Mark Martin? What would happen if Brad Keselowski continued to develop in Hendrick's system and be a Hendrick driver throughout the 2010s? Well, that is the question that we are going to answer in today's What If. And without further ado, let's get into the 2009-2010 offseason, where Brad Keselowski joins Hendrick Motorsports to drive the 5 part-time with Mark Martin. That leaves a spot open at the 12 car. Jamie McMurray will actually fill that void left behind, and Casey Mears will take Jamie Mack's spot at Earnhardt Ganassi Racing. That is all for the first offseason of the video. Let's move to the 2010 season, where Brad Keselowski in the 5 has similar stats to his rookie season, runs about 10 or so races, and gets 2 top 10s, average finish of 22.4. A rough first year learning curve for Brad for sure. Mark Martin in the 5, he gets 10 less races in the car, gets 5 top 5s, 7 top 10s, nothing to write home about. Jamie Mack keeps his 2 crown jewel wins at Daytona and Indy, driving in the 12 car, and gets 8 top 5s, 12 top 10s along with that. Casey Mears runs average at the 1, blows what could have been a win at Charlotte, which would actually happen at the perfect time as Casey Kane won it out of a dying Everham, thus creating the Casey swap, we call it, in which Casey Kane finishes the final 4 races with his new home at the 1, and Mears finishes the season with Red Bull, and if you're a nerd, Max Pappas finishes the year sucking for Germain. In the 2010 chase, Kyle Busch does get that extra win thanks to Casey Mears driving the 1, but that cannot stop Jimmy Johnson in pursuit of another championship. That takes us to the 2010-2011 offseason, where Brad Keselowski takes over the 5 car full time. Mark Martin goes on to run the 15 part-time for Michael Waltrip Racing. He would go on to do the 55 in real life anyway, so he just goes there a year earlier. Casey Mears ends up at the 13 just 1 year later. McMurray will move to the 2 car and make Miller happy because I didn't want Kurt Busch driving their car. Casey Kane signs a multi-year deal with EEGR for the number 1 car. That's basically Chip Ganassi Racing, if you didn't know. Marcos Ambrose will actually join the flashier Red Bull Racing team instead of Richard Petty Motorsports. He'll drive the 4. And Eric Almirola will get the Cup nod a season sooner after finishing the year in the 9 last year. He'll be in the 9 again this year. That takes us to the 2011 season, where Brad Keselowski in the 5 gets 1 win at Kansas, 10 top 5s, and 14 top 10s. Jamie Mack in the 2 gets a win at Bristol, along with 6 top 5s and 8 top 10s. Casey Kane, 4 top 5s, 7 top 10s. This isn't the Chip Ganassi that you know. They were struggling. Seemed like there was some turmoil with the Earnhardt part of the Earnhardt Ganassi Racing, so a struggling team, but Kane gets some decent results. Marcos Ambrose gets his win at the Glen, also 6 top 5s and 12 top 10s in the 4. Eric Almirola in his first year at the 9 gets 1 top 5 along with 3 top 10s. Mark Martin in the 15 runs how he did in 2012, and his career from this point on plays out the same, running part-time in the 55, which brings us to the 2011 chase, in which Jamie Mack just misses even with his win in the 2. Casey Kane isn't in position for the win at Phoenix, despite saving the fuel. Carl Edwards now has the track position, and he will go on to win the race. And Tony Stewart gets outpointed in the championship, so Carl Edwards will win his first career championship at Homestead in 2011. Rewriting history already. Which brings us to the 2011-2012 off-season. Get ready, buckle up, it's a big one. Marcos Ambrose joins Richard Petty Motorsports to drive the 43 after Red Bull dies. That's it. I'm sorry to give you false hope. I promise there will be greener off seasons in the future, but these next couple, a little slow. Moving on to the 2012 season, Brad Keselowski in the 5 gets 4 wins at Bristol, Dega, Charlotte, and Loudon. Jimmy gets his Chicago win, and Jeff Gordon gets his Dover win. That also comes along with 13 top 5s and 23 top 10s. Jamie Mack in the 2 gets a win at Kentucky, along with 6 top 5s and 11 top 10s. Casey Kane goes winless in the 1 again, 4 top 5s, 5 top 10s. And with Eric Almirola at the 9, he kind of just continues the trajectory he did in real life. I don't see one extra year of Cup really changing anything. He's just driving in the 9 now instead of the 43. And I would say the same thing for Marcos Ambrose. He's now in the 43 instead of the 9, but he continues the trajectory he did in real life. Moving on to the 2012 chase, Jamie Mack fills the void left by a struggling Kane in the 1 car. Brad Keselowski doesn't win at Chicago or Dover, but still runs top 5, top 10 throughout the playoff. Incredible consistency, and wins the championship, earning Hendrick their 11th championship to this point, and potentially the first of many throughout this stretch of the 2010s. That takes us to the 2012-2013 offseason, where Casey Kane gets tired of running in the back and joins Penske to drive the Double Deuce. Joey Logano will then take his spot at the Earnhardt Ganassi Racing still number 1 car. Some movement there, but now it's time for the 2013 season, where Brad Keselowski in the 1 has his championship hangover still. Gets 1 win at Pocono, 11 top 5s and 14 top 10s though. In the 22, Casey Kane rattles off 3 wins, 14 top 5s and 20 top 10s. Jamie Mack in the 2 gets another one at Kentucky back-to-back years, along with 5 top 5s and 12 top 10s. Logano in the 1 goes winless with 4 top 5s and 9 top 10s. In the 2013 chase, Spingate still happens, but Kane takes Logano's spot in the 22, and Jimmy Johnson still wins because he's Jimmy Johnson. Moving on to the 2013-14 offseason, nothing happens. My apologies. We have an interesting 2014 season cooking up here. Don't worry. Speaking of the 2014 season, Brad Keselowski in the 5 car gets 3 wins at Vegas, Richmond, and Talladega, 17 top 5s and 20 top 10s. The 22 of Casey Kane gets 2 wins at Texas and a playoff race, 9 top 5s and 15 top 10. Jamie Mack in the 2 rattles off 4 wins, a resurgent season for Jamie Mack. 1 at Kentucky, the place that he owns at this point, 3 in a row. Loudon, Richmond, and Loudon again sweeping the New Hampshire race. That's along with 10 top 5s and 21 top 10s. Joey Logano breaks through with the win at Bristol, along with 8 top 5s and 15 top 10s. This brings us to the 2014 chase, which Jamie Mack with his wins knocks out Greg Biffle, resurgent season from the 2 car. Jamie's win at Loudon also gets him to the next round, knocking out Ryan Newman. Joey Logano will advance to the round of 12. Kane also advancing to the round of 12. He gets a dominant win at Kansas, punching his ticket to the round of 8. Logano will unfortunately get eliminated in the round of 8, but Jamie Mack, consistency in the round of 12, keeps his run alive, putting both Penske Deuces, led by once again Jamie Mack and Kasey Kahne, into the round of 8. What a universe. Brad no longer adores Gordon as they are teammates, got a little more respect for each other, and Gordon will go on to win at Texas, securing his ticket to the Final Four. Fortunately, Jamie Mack, Kasey Kahne, and Keselowski runs all come to an end, and in the championship, a determined Jeff Gordon, a hot Jeff Gordon going into that race, takes down Harvick, takes his 5th championship, and 3rd in a row for Hendrick Motorsports, and decides to go out on top, calling it a career, leaving the 24 car vacant. And coming off an Xfinity championship, Chase Elliott is picked to fill the shoes of Jeff Gordon. This is a completely out there thing that nobody could have seen happening, but that's all for the 2014-2015 offseason. Moving on to the 2015 season, Brad Keselowski in the 5 gets a win at Auto Club along with 9 top 5s, 25 top 10s. Kasey Kahne gets a win at Charlotte along with a decent 7 top 5s, 15 top 10s. Actually the same amount as Jamie Mack, who went winless but got those 7 top 5s and 15 top 10s. Those Penske boys are just running the same. Logano in the 1 gets 4 wins at Daytona, the Glen, Bristol, and Martinsville. That's to go along with 10 top 5s and 18 top 10s. Chase Elliott goes winless in his first season in the 24, but 6 top 5s, 11 top 10s. Not as much experience in the Xfinity series, so not as good of a first season as he did in real life. Despite all of that, though, Chase still gets Gordon's spot in the playoffs, and Kasey Kahne sneaks in over Paul Menard. Logano and Keselowski will make it to the round of 12, along with Jamie Mack, who takes that void left behind Gordon. This eliminates Chase and Kasey Kahne, who just didn't quite have it, kind of starting that regression we saw at the end of his career. Kahne races Kenseth clean, and Matt wins at Kansas, didn't get wrecked by Joey Logano, securing his spot to the round of 8. Kahne will actually still get his win at Charlotte because Penske just really found something in those 3 races. Despite getting eliminated, he does get that win at Charlotte for sure. Logano blows a motor at Dega, would have been in the round of 8 otherwise. That makes him lose his ticket and hands it over to Dale Jr. Matt Kenseth will get the void left behind by Jeff Gordon in the round of 8, meaning McMurray gets eliminated in this round as well. Brad finishes last with a blown tire at Charlotte, and Denny Hamlin will get his spot in the round of 8. Logano gets a non-playoff win at Martinsville in the round of 8. Dale Jr.'s win at Phoenix punches his ticket to Homestead. So now we have a Final Four of Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex Jr., and Dale Jr. for the 2015 championship. Unfortunately, Dale still wrecks out, and Kyle Busch will end the reign of Hendrick Motorsports, winning his first championship in the 18. This leads us to our last boring off season of the video. The only thing changing here is RPM goes down to 1 car, so now Almirola is in the 43. Big whoop. But I promise the 16-17 off season will be worth the wait. But first we got to get through the 2016 regular season, where Keselowski in the 5 gets his 2 wins at Talladega and Daytona, along with 16 top 5s and 22 top 10s. Kahne will actually take a win at Vegas, but only 3 top 5s on the year, along with 13 top 10s. Jamie Mack back winning at Kentucky, his 4th Kentucky win of the video, 6 top 5s and 14 top 10s. You can kind of see the regression coming in Kahne and Jamie. Joey Logano in the 1, 2 wins at Michigan and Talladega, 8 top 5s and 13 top 10s. And Chase Elliott in the 2nd season in the 24, much improved on his 2016 year and his rookie year, 12 top 5s, 18 top 10s. That takes us to the 2016 playoffs, where Kasey Kahne gets in with his win at Vegas, replacing Austin Dillon. McMurray will actually point out Logano, who has an engine failure at Dover, for the round of 12. Jamie Mack gets the Blue Deuce into the round of 8 once again with consistency. That's 2 round of 8 appearances for Jamie Mack, much better than he did in real life. Kyle Busch gets a win at Phoenix, solidifying his Final Four appearance, which was already set in stone. Matt Kenseth gets the spot instead of the eliminated Logano, and so now we have a Final Four of Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards, and Matt Kenseth. Logano did finish well at Homestead, but doesn't have the track position to wreck Carl. Thus, Carl Edwards earns his 2nd championship and is convinced to stay another year at least to extend his career further. Which brings us to the 2016-2017 offseason, where Suarez will stay in Xfinity another year while Carl remains at the 19. Penske, they see the writing on the wall. With a declining Kasey Kahne, they elect to boot him for the younger Ryan Blaney, who just is coming off his rookie year in the 21. Blaney now drives the 22 car to pair up with Jamie Mack. Kasey Kahne gets the nod for the 14. He has kind of more of a reputation than that of Clint Bowyer, I would say, having those years at Penske, so he gets the 14 job, replacing Tony Stewart. Ford now has an opening at the 21. They still have a young driver they would like to keep in-house, so they get Chris Buescher to drive the Wood Brothers 21. JTG will no longer open up that 37 car, and Clint Bowyer is left out to dry another year, settling for the 34 job at Front Row. And that concludes the 2016-2017 offseason. The 5 team of Brad Keselowski has quite the 2017 season, with 4 wins, 3 of those in the regular season at Atlanta, Martinsville, and Indy, and a playoff win to go along with it. Also 18 top 5s and 24 top 10s. Chase Elliott in the 24, remember this is now his 3rd season, he will actually survive a charging Kyle Busch. He gets by Ryan Newman to win at Dover. That gives him 1 win on the year, 17 top 5s, and 25 top 10s. Over at Penske, McMurray gets 1 encumbered win, along with 6 top 5s and 20 top 10s. Ryan Blaney in the 22 gets 1 win at Pocono with 8 top 5s and 18 top 10s. We all know that Pocono race was fate. Whatever he was driving, he would have got that win. Logano in the 1 is winless, but 5 top 5s, 14 top 10s, solid Chip Ganassi season. Carl Edwards in the 19 gets 4 wins, winning the Daytona 500. Hey, we don't know what he would have finished because he didn't race in it, so we gave him the win. Also winning at Loudon, Darlington, and Richmond on the year. That gives him 13 top 5s and 17 top 10s. Kasey Kahne goes winless in the 14, just 1 top 5, 4 top 10s. Unfortunately coming to a close of his career, where he's just not the Kasey Kahne we remember. Chris Buescher in the 21 gets 4 top 5s and 7 top 10s. And finally, Clint Bowyer in the 34 Front Row Racing Ford gets 2 top 5s and 8 top 10s. Now, in the 2017 playoffs, Edwards takes the spot of a winless Kahne and kicks out Stenhouse in the round of 12, where his run will come to an end. Keselowski will still make the Final Four, but he falls just short to MTJ, stage winner MTJ that is, who wins the 2017 championship. That brings us to the 2017-2018 offseason, where we have little musical chairs going on at Hendrick. Nationwide takes Brad in the 88, Chase rebrands to the 9, and Byron takes the 24. Nothing too out of this world. Alex Bowman takes the 95 spot. Remember, there's Hendrick backing over there at Levine Family Racing. Kasey Kahne will retire, not getting that 95 spot, which means Clint Bowyer will finally fill his destiny in the 14, and Almirola will still join the 10 car. Carl says he's still got another year in him, but any year now, he wants to go see his family. Suarez will join the 77 team after Jones goes to the 20, and Paul Menard's funding forces him into the 43, leaving Bubba out to dry for at least a year. But his buddy Ryan Blaney is able to pull some strings, and Bubba's a talented driver, so he gets a part-time schedule with Penske, potentially working his way up in those ranks. That brings us to the 2018 season, where Brad Keselowski in the 88 goes winless, just getting 10 top 5s and 20 top 10s. Still a very consistent, solid season. Alex Bowman in the 95 gets 2 top 5s and 3 top 10s. Still Levine Family Racing, but with a little Hendrick backing, staying in Chevy. Penske has McMurray in the 2, who gets a win at Indy, along with 6 top 5s, 8 top 10s. You can see the regression, but still, that's a playoff season. The 22 of Ryan Blaney gets 3 wins, Darlington, and 2 of them in the playoffs. Remember, he has Todd Gordon now in that 22. That's when we really saw his career take off, was the development with Todd Gordon. So he just gets that a lot earlier in his career. Joey Logano in the 1 gets 1 win at Dega. Also 10 top 5s and 22 top 10s. Very consistent season for him. Carl Edwards in the 19 gets 2 wins, 12 top 5s, and 19 top 10s. For whatever reason, we neglected to put where he won at, but he got 2 wins throughout the season. So apologies for the lack of transparency there. Maybe they're in the playoffs. We'll find out. The 21 of Chris Buescher got 4 top 5s and 11 top 10s in the Wood Brothers racing car. Definitely seeing the progression there for Buescher. Daniel Suarez in the 77 gets 3 top 5s and 12 top 10s. Decent year. Paul Menard. It's Paul Menard, man. I don't know what to tell you. He's also in the 43 if you don't remember. But that takes us to the 2018 playoffs, where McMurray got his walk-off win at Indy. Getting him into the playoffs, which boots Jimmy Johnson out of the postseason. Carl will take Bowman's spot in the playoff and round of 12. McMurray will miss the round of 12. Carl is able to edge Logano out for a spot into the round of 8. And with a win at Martinsville, Carl punches his ticket to the Final 4. But thanks to a wheel decide in which we had Kevin Harvick, MTJ, Carl Edwards, and Kyle Busch, of course, Kevin Harvick redeems himself for his 2014 failures and wins the 2018 championship, getting his first career championship. But will it be his last? In the 2018-19 offseason, Carl will call it a career, spending time with his family, going into seclusion, which opens up the 19 car for Martin Truex Jr. That is accordingly because Furniture Row will close down. That leaves Suarez out to dry. Toyota and Gibbs are looking for a second team, and Levine Family Racing already has that Hendrick funding. They're not going to, leave that. So they turn to Richard Petty Motorsports, who has a fully funded 43 car, with Paul Menard getting 1 last year in that ride. Kurt Busch is still leaving Stewart-Haas, but instead of going to Chip Ganassi Racing, he goes to RCR to drive the 8 car a couple years before his brother would end up doing it in real life. Tony will pick up Joey Logano to drive the 41 instead of Daniel Suarez. Alex Bowman will get an upgrade into the 1 car. Impressive stuff from the Chevy camp. They liked what they saw, even though he didn't get too many top 10s. Matty Benedetto is still good friends with Levine Family Racing, so he gets a one-and-done deal in the 95. At JTG, they decide to give Suarez the 47, leaving Priest to take the 2 car in Xfinity. And Bubba will get more seat time as still part-time for Penske in the Xfinity Series. He's able to kind of piece together a full-time season, though, with some other teams. With Levine Family Racing emerging as a potential option, Tyler Reddick decides to stay in the Hendrick system. He doesn't jump to that 2 car, and that's why Priest ended up getting that 2 car. So we still have Tyler Reddick driving the 8, I believe, for Junior Motorsports. Now, if you think that offseason was crazy, just wait to see what we have in store. Which you will have to wait, because this is the end of part 1 of the What If. We have such a jam-packed What If that we have to split it up into 2 parts, and it's going to be right here. 2020 will be the craziest offseason I think we have ever done in one of these videos, so be sure to come back for that. That will be coming out this Wednesday, so be sure to tune in Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to see how this all wraps up. But for now, this is Left Turn Central. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed. Comment down below any suggestions you have for future what ifs, and we'll see you guys in part 2 Wednesday. Peace.